So as you can see, our quintet is now a trio, but I couldn't have better partners. Hello, everyone. And Michael, welcome to the now 40% more efficient WrestleMania predictions show. And of course, I'm joined by lovely people from the world of wrestling. You might have heard her from the Ladies Wrestling Showcase. You might see her on Making an Impact or the various podcasts that she does. Astrid Pizarro, how are you?
I'm still waking up, but I'm good. How are you?
Same, girl, same. That's why I got this giant thing of coffee right here, because it is the
Yeah,
earliest I've ever gone live on Twitch, ever. And I'm probably
yeah,
never doing it
same.
again, so don't get used to it, people. And then it wouldn't be a Jose Canisi live stream without the one and only Ella J joining the call.
What's up? I think this is my earliest live stream. I've done a bunch of interviews well before 10 a.m., but I think this is the first time I've gone
Yeah.
Mm.
live
Well, I mean, you know what they
into this
say.
early.
There's a last time for everything, so.
Fair enough.
As you can tell, we are not morning people. We did run into some technical difficulties, so Samira unfortunately will not be joining this panel right now. And currently, our beloved Pocket Volcano is currently in a dormant state. She's not feeling the greatest, but she did want to say that
She's in
she hopes everything goes well.
hibernation for a couple more hours.
Yes, she needs to lay inactive so she can erupt later for WrestleMania. Not Magic Impact saying I woke up at 7:30 and was like, oh shit, the panel. And then my dog is napping. Ironically, we're both morning people, so.
Is Michael in Pacific time zone right now?
No, he's in New York.
Then why'd you wake up at 7:30 and be like, oh shit, the stream?
Because he said, and I quote, ironically, we're both morning people. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Also, I'm gonna have like an underscore underneath us, just so it's not just talking. We will. Let's see. What is some copyright-free music where I don't have to worry about even paying attention to it? We are going to do. There we go. We'll shuffle this. Okay. Let's see. No, Michael says, no, I'm in New York. My dog and I usually wake up at 6 a.m. because we're cursed like that. LOL. Smooth.
I thought my early days for work range from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. I thought those were earlier.
Yeah. No, I don't know like how people can be morning people. Like I have to do it for work, but it doesn't mean I enjoy doing it for work.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Same. Yeah.
Let's see. Free. That was not the vibe. There we go. Yeah, I don't know either. But anyways, y'all, WrestleMania weekend is here. It has been a whirlwind already, and it's only Saturday. Like, I feel like there's already
Yeah.
been like 25 shows, and I'm not even like making
Because
that
there
up.
has, literally.
Okay. Anything that's been a standout so far for you this weekend?
Deonna Purrazzo, my homegirl, winning the four-way knockouts match. That was fun, and punching her ticket to Rebellion to face Jordan and possibly Mickie James. I think the insertion of Mickie James would make it even more interesting, but obviously we have to wait to see if she's cleared or not to defend her title.
And I will say, like, regardless of if Mickey's going to be able to defend the title or not, there's
Yeah.
so much history that they could already build in with Jordan
Yeah.
and Deonna alone, especially going back to, like, how Deonna first came to Impact in 2020 and just really building off of that whole feud that they had, the Iron Man match, like, just so much history there. And also the fact that Jordan has still yet to beat Deonna one-on-one.
Yeah.
Astrid, what's been a standout for you so far?
I think definitely last night the Reach for the Sky ladder match was definitely one that I enjoyed yesterday from beginning to end. So I definitely want to rewatch it. I definitely love especially the end of having like FTR with Mark Briscoe coming in there and the Lucha Brothers just like celebrating as it was for like tag team wrestling. And then having all the other tag teams kind of join in and hug him on the way out to the back too. That was just like such a nice touch to see there. And not only that, but like the points of like Mark kind of going for a tag during his match, just one of the things that make you so emotional when you think about it at first. So it's definitely got in my heart there.
Ring of Honor looked like it was phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that show was good too.
except for the poor Dante Martin spot. I felt
Yes.
so sad about
Yeah.
that. The clip popped up on my timeline and it was
Yeah. I will say, shocker of the weekend was Nigel McGuinness going back to ROH for commentary.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Although I still say Veda Scott needs a commentary gig on television in 2023. Find them, sign them, they'll do it. Yeah, like those were like two like very big standouts for me this weekend. Like obviously there's just been so much going on that's like kind of hard to keep up with certain things unless you're like really digging deep. I will say seeing little bits of Wale Mania and seeing Trinity Fatu, Trinity Star, whatever name she wants to go off of, like really getting her flowers and like making her first real like appearance of that capacity like after her confirming her release from WWE was something that was a standout to me, and just really hoping that she knows how much she's loved and that whatever she chooses to do, she has a legion of people behind her, and hopefully from there we can just keep propelling forward and not thinking about everything that could have happened over the last year and really think about the clear and present. Troy Gonzalez says, "Hey everyone, welcome Troy."
Hey, Troy. Oh yeah, it's like 10 p.m. where Troy is, so it's not terribly late, but
And also probably a different platform than what the chats that we're all used to like mingling.
yeah.
Like sometimes it's YouTube, sometimes it's just like an Instagram live, who knows, but yeah, I mean obviously today is a very big day with not only WrestleMania night 1 but even NXT Stand and Deliver that starts in about 90-ish minutes. Anything that you think is going to be
1 p.m.
I thought it was 12 p.m.
I swear it was 1.
It's one unless they have some kind of pre-show, but I don't think they'll have anything on the pre-show.
Well, I guess it's
No.
2.5 hours. So let's see.
Yeah, their call time was 6 a.m. to Pacific time. I would.
I mean, that's just a time zone thing. So.
Yeah, I know.
Oh no, it is 1 p.m. Okay, so we do have time. The kickoff is at noon. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna have a kickoff match, but anything that you guys are looking forward to the most on that show? Who wants to start? Go ahead.
Astrid's the NXT person, so I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I will say this is coffee, not tea, though. So.
I think I'm definitely stuck up between the girls because it's a ladder match and there's a few of them. And usually we get those one-on-one matches, and this one we get a few of them, so I'm really excited about that one. But also for Carmelo to get his crown tonight because the afternoon has to end with him getting that crown, please.
Yeah, I was about to say the same. I'm interested to see. I want to see what Braun Breaker can do without a championship. You know, coming in, he was a lot newer. He didn't have much experience, but then he had to quickly level up once he got that championship, and he's grown so much. But I want to see what can he do without a championship. Is he going to sink or swim? Obviously, getting Carmelo getting the title would be a feel-good moment too. But I want to see what Braun Breaker can do without a championship.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing is, I mean, just reading the chat, Magic Impact saying the NXT Women's Tag Title match is exciting for him. Troy's saying, I know Ella's excited to see Roxanne in the ladder match.
Yeah.
So I feel like the ladder match would probably be one of the show stealers, but it's going to be very hard to top what they've been doing with Johnny Gargano and Grayson Waller. That unsanctioned match. Like the build that they've had, the pull aparts, Grayson going to Johnny's home and attacking him in front of baby Quill and Candice, and Quill crying. Like that child was meant for the business. Like, because you could have whatever storyline and like whatever lines you want. That's the emotion of the match. And if we know anything about Johnny Takeover, is that when there's no rules, you are in for a very violent match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, God, I can't believe there's going to be so much wrestling today. And I don't know, like, can we also just take a step back to appreciate the fact that we could do it at our leisure? In our comfy clothes.
I'm taking a nap after this. It's gonna be a long night for night 1 and night 2.
Yeah, probably. I'll probably take a nap after this too. Watch NXT, go to the buffet for dinner, and then come back and watch night 1, which is just I miss Dallas. Like, don't get me wrong, I had the best time going to WrestleMania. But this year is just like, I don't know if it's like personal stuff, but just like I needed to take a step back. And it feels nice to be able to do so. But the plan is to definitely be in Philly. Astrid, I know we need to find a show where we could all meet up, you included, and then just have like a giant gathering
Yeah.
of wrestling people.
That's the one experience I haven't had with WrestleMania yet because I've been to WrestleMania and I had the experience of being there through the whole show, but I haven't had the experience of like meeting up with people that I know online
Yeah.
and doing all these like indie stuff through the week and everything. That's what I want to do. So I feel like I haven't had like an official WrestleMania weekend yet because I've only been to Mania and that was about it. I haven't had anything in between there. I haven't seen anybody. It's just like I want to have that moment of like, hey, we're gonna see each other next year. We're gonna go to this show, this show, this show, and that show. So I want to do that, and I haven't been able to yet.
40's gonna be lit.
Yeah,
Like,
Philadelphia
literally,
2024.
we love it. Most of my friends are East Coast or Central, so it
Yeah.
works for all of us.
And a lot of them are based out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Or like Jersey and stuff like that, yeah.
Michael, not to put you on blast, but if you can leave the tri-state area and go to Philly and come hang out with the family, we will embrace you with open arms.
Yes.
Yes, and if Terry was there, probably open legs, but that's an inside joke. But yeah, I mean, Stand and Deliver looks like it's going to be a good card, but obviously we still have a very momentous night ahead of us. Obviously, this is going to be one of the biggest WrestleManias we've ever had. Can we start with the set design?
Yeah.
It is gorgeous. I mean, it kind of borrows elements of WrestleMania 21 with like the movie signs and like the red carpet, but like they've really done a remarkable job, like using the size that they have at SoFi Stadium, having the interactive banners. Ed Fries, hello, welcome.
Hey, Ed.
God, Ed, my tech partner.
Yeah, I was gonna say like if. Note to self, next time we do anything like a live panel or anything, we're going to have to like make sure that whoever has a Twitch can also hop in and stream with their people, and we could probably try to do a multi-stream. Ed, thank you for the follow. But yeah, I mean, Mania Night 1, it actually has more matches than Mania Night 2, which I didn't think about. So now that we know the match order of everything, we can kind of just go down the list. This was announced as the opening match. We'll see if it actually stays that way. The United States Championship, it is going to be Austin Theory versus John Cena. Astrid, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts going into the U.S. title match, as I thank Troy for following?
This one I'm kind of torn about because it's that moment of like, I feel like it's kind of Cena like passing the torch to somebody younger, like Austin Theory. But at the same time, I don't want him to have that win because we're going to hear that for a while when he's bragging about it later. But I feel like it makes sense for Austin to win it and Cena give him that moment of like, I'm passing the torch to you as a younger guy here. And I feel like maybe the next night for, the night up, the Raw after Mania, then we get kind of like an open challenge or something like that. And, I feel like that's going to be like a big surprise there. But yeah, as much as I don't want it to be, I think Austin's going to win it.
LJ, what say you?
I'm kind of in the same mindset as Astrid. However, I will say, how many times have we had where somebody wins a title at WrestleMania and loses it the next night? Obviously, everybody knows Cena is on a filming schedule. He just started filming a new movie the same day that he literally was at Raw last. So obviously, Cena's not going to be able to be full-time. So you could theoretically have him be a transitional champ and have him win at WrestleMania, drop it 2 days later on Monday Night Raw to an open challenge to say somebody like a Jay White or something. I think if they do go that route, I think the open challenge is going to be somebody big. We've seen Cena be a transitional champ before. I love him. I would love if he won, but it's just not realistic at this point. If he's gonna win, it's only gonna be for 2 days. He's gonna drop it on Raw, which is possible. Like we said, we've seen people do that multiple times before with the IC title. But I think ultimately, I think Theory is going to retain here, get that big bragging right over John Cena, as much as it pains me to say it too. I think that would really cement himself as a heel that everybody hates. Like, oh my gosh, he beat John Cena. I mean, so I think it's going to be Theory. It could be Cena, though. If it is Cena, he's dropping that shit in 2 days.
So here's my little play out for this. So I honestly think Cena's probably going to win, but here's my thoughts. I don't think it's that he's going to drop it the next night on Raw, But I do think the next night on Raw is where they set up something for him to probably drop it at Backlash, because if they can get Cena to go to Puerto Rico for Backlash, that's going to be huge. I mean, they already have Bad Bunny there. They're doing SmackDown there. Mm-hmm. It's going to draw huge numbers, not only for WWE, but for the island, which is great for everybody. I could totally see him do like the open challenge the next night on Raw, and then we either have someone debut and answer it, or it could be someone who might have been left off the card this year, but can still give him a good run for his money. I know back at a Raw that I went to back in 2015 when he was doing the open challenge for the U.S. title, there's one match in particular that really made me excited. So
Xavier Woods?
I would love to see Xavier Woods go one-on-one with Cena, especially now that we have King of the Ring Xavier Woods.
Yeah.
Like, Xavier Woods not being on WrestleMania really does pain me, because it sucks that he is still out with his neck. It sucks that Kofi had his ankle injury. And it would be a good way to at least try to get a little bit of momentum going back into King of the Ring. Who's to say he can't do it 2 years in a row? Mm-hmm. But even then, it could be something where even if Xavier doesn't win the U.S. title, it could be a great way to build him, and then also have Theory come back after the match in Rage and beat the shit out of Cena. And then that could set up for Theory to get a rematch at Backlash. So, as it stands right now, we have one Theory and two Cenas.
Two Theories and one Cena.
Two Theories and one Cena. Okay, because you were kind of playing like I could see it from both ways, but
I'm still doing Theory, but I will say like it's a possibility for Cena. I would hope it'd be Cena, but I just with his schedule, I'm like, I mean they could I guess have him go away and then not come back till Backlash, but
yeah, and then
like you want Cena on your screen.
Yeah, no, for sure. And just catching up on the chat, Magic Impact saying if Austin wins, who takes it off him? I guess Cena too, but I always assume he would be a transitional champion, a la Jillian Hall, which makes total sense. He was saying he would like to see Mustafa Ali be the next U.S. champ, which you won't get a no out of me on that. Ed's thinking Theory wins and then loses it on Raw to re-debuting on the main roster, Braun Breaker. That would be interesting.
I don't think Breaker's ready. I don't think Breaker's ready for the main roster yet. Then again, we've seen many people called up who I didn't think were ready.
I mean, then again, we also had the Raw after Mania last year where he regained the NXT title from Dolph Ziggler. So who's to say what's really impossible? And then Magic Impact jokingly saying when Cena drops, it's Bad Bunny. I mean, Bad Bunny needs to put on his working boots again, because we know he can do it. It's just...
I'd be shocked if he didn't wrestle in some capacity. Personally, I think it's going to be something to do with the Mysterios. I think that would make more sense, but like we'll see.
Well, I mean, not to think further ahead into Backlash, but I mean, you also think about the fact that Damian Priest was his tag team partner at WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly.
I could totally see like Ray and Bad Bunny versus Damian and Dominic in a tag team match easily.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, kind of moving on from another high-profile star to one that is going to be competing tonight. We have Seth freaking Rollins facing the ever controversial Logan Paul. So Logan, over the last year... Sure, he has not been on every show, but the shows he's been on, he's really had all the attention garnered to him. And I hate to give the devil his due, but damn it, he knows what he's doing and he does it well. But when it comes to WrestleMania, you got to think about no one could have had a better WrestleMania story than Seth freaking Rollins did at WrestleMania 31. Starting out in a banger of a match with Randy Orton and then cashing in Money in the Bank in the main event to win the world title. I mean, Ella, we'll start with you this time. Your thoughts?
So it's funny because I think that night one is very going to be heel centric with the majority of the heels going over, and I think it's going to be the opposite for night two, where most of the faces are going to win. It's Logan Paul's birthday too as well. I know people are saying if Seth wins, he'll be 0-4 at his last 4 Manias. Which I get that, I get that point, but like Sasha Banks was also like 0-5 for a while, right? And then until she finally won last year. Asuka right now is still like 0-something. So I think if Seth loses, which I think he's going to, he'll still be okay. It's not going to devalue really his accolades and all of that. He'll be okay. I think Logan Paul is going to win, especially if they want him to re-sign. I do think, though, that after if Logan wins, that they're gonna do some angle to still send the crowd home happy, whether that be smashing a birthday cake and set in Logan's face or something. I still think that even if Logan wins, they're gonna still have some reason to sing Seth's song at the end. So I think Logan's gonna get a cake to the face after he wins.
All right, Astrid, what about you?
Yeah, I was thinking along the same lines of like it's his birthday, but and not only with the re-signing, but also you're in California. It's like, that's where he's usually from. That's where his audience is from most of the time. So you gotta capitalize on like his stardom, unfortunately, at the same time. And I feel like as much as I don't want Rollins to lose it, I know he can kind of pick himself up after this, so it doesn't matter at the same time. But I do see Logan winning more in that aspect of like I can imagine the headlines the next day is like, oh, Logan Paul wins at WrestleMania, and that's great for WWE for the people that are going to watch it later in a marketing aspect. So to me, it does make sense of having Paul win. I'm just hoping that something happens like Allison that ends on a good note for Rollins at the end and kind of gives him that push because as I was watching his interview earlier, or I think it was earlier this morning. And just thinking of like the way he was talking about like Cody, he's like, I've been here, working my butt off, and I should have been in like Cody's position, but I'm not. And he just came back and he's in that position. But I'm hoping that Rollins can pick himself up after this and be into that position with Cody after Cody wins the title. But I think Logan's definitely winning this one.
Yeah, I feel like Logan's probably going to win this one too. I don't think he's going to do it clean. If anything, I feel like they might run back kind of what they did at was it Clash of the Castle? Was it Clash of the Castle where he was facing
with
Roman?
Jake Paul. Yeah,
I could see a Jake Paul appearance,
too.
and then I don't know if there would be someone that evens the odds for Seth, but like I could definitely see like them playing off of Jake
Could be
Paul.
one of the Fury brothers.
Yeah, you never know. I could totally see some of that shenanigans happening, but like either Seth gets attacked or distracted, and then Logan wins with that buckshot lariat. So, which is still crazy to see that he does all the damn time. And I kind of hate that sometimes it looks better than Hangman's, but that is neither here nor there. Magic Impact saying Seth better win. Troy saying John Maxley, JK, and then Ed Fries saying Crown Jewels. I think where Roman versus Paul happened. See, I couldn't remember if it was the Saudi show or if it was the UK show. I think it was Crown Jewel. Now that you mention it,
it was.
And Ed also thinks that Seth could win. I mean, never say never. I mean, we've seen Logan like literally in every match he's faced a former world champion. He doesn't have to win every match. I mean, he beat Ray, he beat Miz, he lost to Roman. I don't think it's going to hurt him to lose to someone on the caliber of Seth Rollins, too. So, who's to say? And then, Castle was Roman versus Drew. Thank you, Magic Impact. I couldn't remember. The stadium shows kind of all blurred together for me, but I'm glad we figured that out. Next up is a match that I think has the potential to be a show stealer. It's a 6-woman tag team match. We have Damage Control, Bayley, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, facing the unlikely tandem of Hall of Famer Trish Stratus and the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, also Hall of Famer Lita and Becky Lynch. Which, if you told me that Lita and Becky Lynch would have been tag team champions this time last year, after the barn burner they had at Elimination Chamber, I would have been like, do what? Because, I mean, I always felt like if Lita was going to come back for the tag titles, it would have been with Trish. So, I don't know if they're going to eventually play into that, whether it's in this match or down the line, because the rumors are that Trish is going to stick around till SummerSlam. Detroit is not that far from Toronto. I mean, we've always said, like, some of Trish's best work was as a heel. And you think about WrestleMania 20, she had probably one of the best WrestleMania heel turns, that against Chris Jericho, aligning with Christian. I mean, I could see this match going many different ways. I probably am going to say that they'll give it to Damage Control, honestly, because this is, like, the one chance that they will have to actually be, like, properly showcased and highlighted in a match and not look pathetic. Astrid, we'll start with you. What do you say?
Yeah, this is one definitely been stuck in, and I feel like they should definitely give it to Damage Control because I feel like they need it. I feel like as a group, it's been, I don't want to say downfall, but it feels that way after losing the titles because they haven't really won and done much. So I really want them to win it, and I feel like later on this does build towards Bobby Trish turning and then her going against Becky towards that SummerSlam card. But I definitely think Damage Control needs that win, needs to be showcased, and they need to kind of give it to like the younger talent in that way. And if you think about it in this aspect, it's more Damage Control because we only have Becky on the other side. And I feel like Becky and Lita and Trish can definitely pick it themselves up afterwards. And in this aspect, I will have maybe Trish kind of get the pin, so that way anybody the tag team champions doesn't get pinned later on. But I definitely want Damage Control to win it though.
Yeah. And then, Ella, before we get to you, just catching up on the chat, kind of circling back to Seth and Logan Paul, Ed Fries was saying, imagine Seth wins, laughs at Roman without a title, and then Jay White and the Good Brothers attack Seth, which is definitely a possibility. I would be here for it. And then Magic Impact also stressing the fact that this WrestleMania is Lita's second WrestleMania match ever.
Yeah.
Literally the only match that she's actually been an active competitor for was at WrestleMania 18, that triple threat match with Jazz and Trish. Yes, she's been instrumental to other WrestleMania moments. I think of TLC. I think of that hardcore match with Edge and Mick Foley, but it's honestly criminal that Lita has never had a WrestleMania match aside from WrestleMania 18 until now. The fact that it took, let's see, that was 2002. It took 21 years for another WrestleMania match. It's not lost on me. Ella, your thoughts on the 6-woman tag?
I pretty much have the same mentality as Astrid. I think Damage Control has literally lost everything. Bailey lost to Rhea. Io and Dakota lost their tag titles. They've been made to look like fools the last few weeks, for the sake of the storyline. But I don't think they're going to reclaim the tag titles. But this would still be a way to let them get back at least back on one foot on the grandest stage of them all. And whether this is the night that Trish turns on them, I don't know. But I think they're going to let them get back at least 1 foot before, they lose their rematch and whatever. So I think they're going to get this moment, but then I still think that they're going to lose the rematch, unfortunately. They'll give them this one thing to give them, like I said, get them back on track a little bit. But in the grand scheme of things, I still think that Becky and Lita are going to retain their titles. And when Trish turns, I don't know. Like you said, she kind of has 4 months to play with this. So it could be sooner, it could be later. I don't know. But I think Damage Control is going over here.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing, too, is that Magic Impact also brings this up, is that all of Trish's major turns, aside from when she returned in 2005 to rescue Ashley, have been at a WrestleMania, whether it was turning on Vince McMahon, whether it was turning on Chris Jericho. Like, those are two very instrumental character shifts for her, and, I mean, we've seen how her career was able to play out. Like, she really thrives at WrestleMania, whether it's as a competitor or in those key moments where even though she might not be in the match, she's definitely is instrumental to the match. So, needless to say, I'm very excited for this 6-woman tag. I think it has match of the night potential. I mean, there's a lot on this card that I think is going to have match of the night potential. This one's probably going to be a sleeper one. Moving along, give Bailey everything, let Becky lose all the matches, Ed says. I mean, Bailey's due for her just desserts. I feel like we've not really been able to capitalize on her return, and it's been really nutty to see that we go from her having the longest SmackDown Women's title reign in history to not being on the card at WrestleMania 37. We go from seeing her starting to feud with Bianca, and then unfortunately she tears her ACL, and then just has not been able to catch back up. Which, I mean, yes, Bailey doesn't need a championship to be relevant. That is not what I'm saying at all, but the whole thing is just, where does she get her just desserts? She hasn't gotten anything really since returning, which is crazy to see. I'm so glad they didn't scrap the 6-woman tag after all. I'm glad they're not rushing the story after Coda's injury. I mean, I'm glad that Coda got cleared when she did to drop the titles and kind of build the story even more. I mean, everyone looks phenomenal heading into the match. I just want to make sure that they can showcase them and there's going to be good follow-through for it. Moving along, we have our men's WrestleMania showcase, the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match. We have Strowman and Ricochet going against the Street Profits, going against Alpha Academy, going against the Viking Raiders. I will start this one to say that I understand why we have a men's showcase match, because the tag team titles are going to be defended later on in this show. I don't get why there's no stipulation about number one contendership at all. I think
it's just unofficial number one contender.
Yeah, it's like an unspoken thing. I think the thing that really gets me is just I don't know if I could honestly replace any of the teams that are already in this match. So I mean, I feel like the fourth they have kind of been oh, no, I lied. I take that back. I would have wanted to see Legado del Fantasma in here. I could have seen, honestly, I'm going to give this match the same critique that I'm giving the women's showcase match. I feel like we should have had tag team turmoil matches instead of just a fatal four way, because you're booking yourself into a hole where you're leaving people off the card. And also, if it's not going to be for the tag team titles, why not have a chance to at least like build a little bit more within the match itself? See who can run the gauntlet, see who's going to be able to either outwit or outlast whoever is in the match still, and kind of do what they did at WrestleMania 37 with the women's tag team turmoil match, and then get a title match the next night. But, I mean, kind of going into this, I don't see the Street Profits losing this one. I just don't right now. Like, Montez is hot coming off of Elimination Chamber. Angelo's been doing the best work he's ever done. Like, I just don't see anyone but Street Profits getting this one. Astrid, what do you say?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I honestly thought this was the number one contenders match for that and the women's tag team titles until like now that you show me that I see the graphic and it says showcase. Like, what's the point of having it? And there's nothing to it aside from a showcase. I hope like later on they do say, look, I won that WrestleMania match that that should give me a title shot kind of situation in their promos and lead up to a title match for both teams, whoever wins it. But I definitely think it's definitely time for the Street Profits. I feel like that you have to capitalize on them and the popularity right now. They're the ones that I can see winning this. If anything, the other option could be maybe Strowman and Ricochet, because I feel like the last couple of weeks they've been really hot on SmackDown. But my number one choice is always going to be the Street Profits on this one. Nobody else.
Yeah. No, I feel like this is probably going to be one where it's definitely one of the face teams winning. I don't know which one for sure. I mean, Strowman does have history at WrestleMania winning the Raw Tag Team titles with a 10-year-old, so who's to say that he can't find tag team victory again? Ella, what do you say?
This is actually the match that I am the most torn about, like, of all the matches.
Really?
Yeah, because the thing, like, if it has implications for, like, a tag title shot, like, KO and Sammy are winning, just straight up. So, for me, like, you want them to go against a heel team to be their first competitors, which would, by default, it's not going to be Alpha Academy, they've been kind of I've been enjoying what they're doing, but they've had some tension lately. Otis is being pulled away by Maximum Male Models, so I don't see them sticking around much longer. Ricochet just won last night on SmackDown, so traditionally the winner who wins the night before is not going to win on Mania, so that kind of eliminates them. But if you want somebody to go against Kevin and Sammy, you would want it to be like a heel team being like the Viking Raiders. However, I want the Street Profits to win as well because it is that WrestleMania moment. And like I said, my picks for night one are so heel heavy, other than KO and Sammy. So I feel like they're going to want to at least have the crowd, cheer some more during this besides the one match. So this is where I'm kind of torn. I don't know if it has implications for tag titles. If it doesn't have implications for tag titles, then I say the Street Profits. If they announce like, yo, the winner of this gets a future title shot, then I'm gonna say the Viking Raiders. So it depends on like the implications of the match for me.
Yeah, going through the chat, Magic Impact saying he wants Maximum Male Models to get involved, especially with Otis. Ed
That
saying
would be great.
I think it's a de facto number one contenders match. I think Alpha Academy gets a big win for Gable and Otis. If Maxine doesn't get an entrance, I will sue Paul, says Magic Impact, and to which Troy agrees. I feel like no Maxine Dupree on WrestleMania is a choice. I mean, even if they don't have like a little vignette or something, I feel like they would be able to capitalize on it.
She's gonna be there. I think she's gonna be there, and I think she's gonna be the reason why Alpha Academy, like maybe they almost get the win, but then they evidently don't. I think, man, it's so hard. Like I said, this is the match that I'm the most like torn about. But I think to balance out the card, though, you want some faces to get pops throughout the night, and because I'm so heel heavy, I think the Street Profits would be a good, nice break for the people to get rejuvenated and be excited about a match finish.
No, and then also I feel like if they did end up making a number one contenders match and they had to go face-face, that's probably the face-face you want to go. I mean, the only thing that I could think of is if that's not going to be anything to do with the tag team title picture, which would be bonkers to me, is maybe if Sammy and KO win the tag titles, they move on to a feud with probably a heel version of the OC. because we haven't seen Gallows and Anderson on TV at all, really.
I have a different. They were on SmackDown last night for the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I have a different path for them though, which we'll talk about on night 2.
Okay.
Once we get to it. I have a different idea for the OC.
So as it stands right now, I say Street Profits. Astrid, do you say Street Profits?
I think I'm gonna say Profits too.
Okay.
I think to break up, to make some more heel, get some more face wins, I should say.
Yeah.
On night 1.
And also, like, OC being in the Battle Royal, like, yeah, good for them. They got booked on something, but it's not, like, anything with substance.
AJ's injured, that's why, so.
Yeah, and then, like, seeing, like, Mia's not been able to really get, like, any footing. Like, I'm still kind of shocked. Like, we could get into, like, how I would have booked the women's match when we get to night 2, but we'll just keep chugging along. Next match, we have Dominic Mysterio against now WWE Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio. And a match that did not start out with the most delightful build, but, like, in the last 3 weeks, they're flooring the gas, and I'm looking forward to this one.
So am I.
Yeah, I mean, Ella, take it away.
I think this one, for me, like, outside of the bloodline, for sure, this has had the best story going into it, WrestleMania. Like, hands down, you know, overall, the a lot of the stories build to Mania have been kind of underwhelming. This one and the bloodline have been the ones that have stood out to me, have been the best storytelling. Obviously, you know, Dominic and Ray, it's been personal now. They had that little walkout moment last night at the Hall of Fame, I think, and also that photo was so funny with Buddy Murphy just sitting next to Rhea, then Dominic's on the other side. That took me out. But this could lead to a tag team match at Puerto Rico at Backlash, but I think because Dominic has been so vocal, so fixated on just reading down his father, I think Ray would be down to put over his son. And I think, I could see them. Apparently, the report is they're continuing this story after Mania, so Ray could theoretically get a win. But I think Dominic's going to get help from Damian Priest and beat his father.
No, I feel like, personally, I don't see Ray winning this match, which is crazy to say. Yeah. But the way that they're going into it, I also don't think it's going to be Ray's last match either, which is...
No.
Thank God. Like, I was so worried, like, oh God, he's going to lose in Mania, he's going to give up the mask and retire. It doesn't seem like that's the way right now. I think for the first time ever, like, properly, I'm going to say this properly, because technically this has happened before, we are going to see an active competitor who gets inducted into the Hall of Fame continue that run for more than just the next night, instead of just Ric Flair like immediately retiring after losing at Mania. So I mean, Astrid, what do you think about this one?
This sort of been torn about because I do feel like I see Dominic winning, but at the same time, like, I kept thinking from this aspect of he does have backup with Damian, but Ray has backup now with, like, as we call it, the LWO and Legado. And they have more bodies than they would with Judgment Day because, Finn's going to be busy, Rhea's going to be busy, so Damian is the only person that can really help out Dominic versus Mysterio has the whole Legado Fantasma behind him. But I feel like no matter what happens, I feel like it's going to end up being like a Legado or LWO versus a Judgment Day kind of thing. Maybe at Puerto Rico it happens and capitalize on, like, the Hispanic market there. So definitely, I'm just torn on who wins, but I feel like they definitely both have backup in case something happens. But maybe we do have Dominic winning, and it's kind of like that thing of, like, Santos, like, we're not gonna stand for this because of, like, our history of lucha libre and everything. So let's try to get behind you, Ray, and kind of have that rematch all together as a team. So maybe Dominic wins, and then we get that rematch later, like as a whole big tag team match.
Yeah, I feel like for me, like, just kind of going out with this, like, obviously I feel like Dominic is going to end up winning this one. I don't think he's going to win clean. If he does, that's going to be the most surprising thing, but kind of seeing what ends up leading into Backlash. I feel like for whatever they set up with Backlash, I think that's going to be where Bad Bunny gets involved. I think it definitely is going to be kind of Legado del Fantasma, aligning with Bad Bunny, aligning with Ray against Judgment Day. Whether Rhea and Zelina get involved or not, who's to say? But personally, I feel like if we are going to get, like, a big multi-man tag match at the Backlash show in Puerto Rico, even if it's going to be more team members, I could see Judgment Day, like, calling in reinforcements, especially if being in Puerto Rico. I could see Carlito coming back for a night. I mean, we saw him in the 2021 Royal Rumble. I mean, the dude is shredded to hell. Like, we could see, like, more Puerto Rican representation coming in. Like, we could see Primo. We could see anyone really come in and try to even the odds there, really set up something even bigger when it comes to what's going to happen with
Melina.
the Backlash show.
Melina would be fun.
Melina would be fun. I mean, like, I could see... Well, the problem is, like, what's Rhea going to be doing, assuming that Rhea is not beating Charlotte, but we could get to that later on, because we're almost at... Actually, that is our next match, actually.
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair versus the Royal Rumble winner, Rhea Ripley, SmackDown Women's title. I feel like this match has not gotten the build it deserves, but if there's one thing I've learned from Women's Royal Rumble storylines going into WrestleMania, it's that the story doesn't really make up for what the match is going to be in the end. I mean, we've seen that Bianca versus Sasha Banks did not have nearly the build that it should have had, but it ended up becoming, honestly, my favorite WrestleMania main event match of all time. And you can quote me on that. So what I'm thinking is going to happen is I feel like this is going to be the main event of night one to give it to a Royal Rumble winner. And if it's not, I'm going to be a little bit surprised just because the way they're really talking about like the importance of that stipulation going on to main event WrestleMania, especially if Cody's going to be doing it the next night over. I could totally see them doing it this year. I know they didn't do it with Ronda last year. I wasn't mad they didn't do it with Ronda last year. I'm just glad her shoulders were down that time. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Your shoulders are down now this time.
Yeah.
You scared me last year, Astrid.
Oh no, I was incensed in the stadium. It was great. But I feel like with this one, so I'm torn because I feel like the roles should be reversed. It should be Charlotte who's going in as a heel. It should be Rhea going in as a face. However, I don't think that Rhea's going to beat Charlotte. I think it's going to be kind of the same thing going into WrestleMania 36 where Rhea's very cocky, full of herself, like she's like ready to prove herself, but it's Charlotte wins LOL all over again.
Well, I have a solution that would fix that for you.
The floor
Because
recognizes LJ.
The people are saying that a double turn could happen. The thing, though, that complicates that, though, is Rhea's attachment to Judgment Day. But if you saw, like, her match versus Bayley, like, the crowd was behind her. We've had heel factions before where people are so just, like, say Jamie Hayter, for example. You know, they were a part of the heel faction, but people just started naturally gravitating towards Jamie. So she kind of had that, like, tweener role before organically kind of turning face, you know, even though she was still attached with the faction. I feel like the crowd is going to be cheering. Like, I think it's going to be a split reaction. You know, Charlotte last Friday, not yesterday, kind of slipped a little bit back into those heel mannerisms. The crowd was whatting her. So I think it's possible we get a little blurring of the lines during this match and see a little bit of a heel Charlotte and a face Rhea. I don't know if it'll be a full-blown, like, double turn. But that would kind of solve that. I just don't see I also said last year I don't see a world where Ronda didn't win last year, and she didn't. So I feel confident though that Rhea is gonna be the one. You know, if anybody's gonna take the title off of Charlotte, you know, it's that. Is it a feel-good moment? For me, it is, because I love both of them, but I still believe that Rhea should have gone over at WrestleMania 36. So, you know, she chose Charlotte for a reason. Kind of like Cody said, finish the story, get her redemption. I think Rhea Ripley is walking out and new.
All right, Astrid, what do you say?
Yeah, I keep thinking like this is the way of having Rhea winning will be a great way to just say, look, I've grown up. It's been 3 years and I learned my lesson from who I was at that moment to who I am now. And I feel like it will be great because at that time I was hoping Rhea would keep the championship, and having Charlotte win, it just, as much as I love Charlotte, it just didn't feel like it was great for Rhea's character for her to lose at that time. So I think it's just a great way to say, look, I've learned my lesson. I've grown up from that Rhea that was in WrestleMania 36 to this Rhea now. I have a whole new different experience. And I feel like she can kind of say, like, I know you more now than I knew you back then. So I feel like I can capitalize on, like, that win. And, like, along the lines of what Ella's saying is, like, I feel like the crowd is really behind Rhea because they want her to be champion. They want her to beat Charlotte to have that, you know, that kind of feel-good moment for her that we didn't get at WrestleMania 36. And I feel like you can definitely show, like, that progression by having Rhea win. And I would love to see that as well. I want her, I feel like it'll be great, not only that, but hoping that it's great for the SmackDown Women's division to kind of hit that kind of reset button, because I've been saying it for, like, weeks now, or even months. the Raw Women's division has been doing great for the last couple of months, but I feel like the SmackDown has been lacking a lot for the women, and I'm hoping that having Rhea as champion will kind of give like a reset or refresh to that division, and I feel like it'll be fresh to have all the women in SmackDown go against Rhea. And you can do actually Rhea versus Liv Morgan sometime soon and kind of revisit that as well. You have that backstory there to fall on. So I feel like they could do that. So I feel like they have more better options with Rhea than with Charlotte. And I would like to see what Charlotte can be without a championship, really, because I feel like she's almost always champion. So I want to see what it's like for her not being champion and just kind of having just like singles matches with the other ladies with no championship involved whatsoever. But I do hope that Rhea wins this.
Yeah, I feel like more than anything, I think we're due for like a draft or a superstars shakeup or whatever the hell you want to call it, just to like reinvigorate both divisions, because it feels like SmackDown has been playing second fiddle to Raw for a very long time now. I think that was mostly evident when we think about Survivor Series, how Raw had their own War Games match, and
unless
SmackDown
it was the
just...
Bloodline, that would be the only like real draw for SmackDown.
Yeah, I feel like Rhea winning would probably revitalize a lot more going into SmackDown. And I mean, we've seen like just how popular she's been. Like, yes, Judgment Day has been heels, but like Rhea's never been getting just heat. She's always been the most charismatic member of the stable. Say what you want. We see this all the time whenever there's a woman involved. It usually is the center of attention. I feel like if they are going to have Charlotte win, I just don't know who they can do to face her and beat her for the title. That wouldn't be like a new debut. So, I mean, I'm going to say Rhea's going to win. However, if Charlotte does win, I feel like that is going to be where we get someone getting called up from NXT to take the title off of her. But I don't know exactly who it's going to be quite yet. That's the problem, because I can think of someone that I can see facing Charlotte and like doing well, but I can also think of someone facing someone on Raw and setting up something even greater. So I will circle back to that when we get to night 2, but I think it's safe to say Rhea across the board.
Yes.
All right.
I feel most confident about Rhea.
Yes.
Actually, no, I would say I feel most confident about Cody, I should say. I think I feel the second most confident in.
Okay. And then, lastly, for night 1, we have the Undisputed Tag Team Championships, the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Honestly, if the women's title match does not main event, I want this to be the main event, because it'll be a first for WrestleMania where we have a Tag Team Championship main event WrestleMania. And just the emotions going into this match, like just stemming from the Royal Rumble all the way to now, I feel like if there's ever a time for a tag team main event, this is the main event to do it. And on top of that, I feel like this is the way that you get those tag titles off of the Usos and start to really deteriorate the bloodline. I mean, Astrid, go ahead.
Yeah, I keep thinking along that same way. Like, this is the way to like kind of crumble down that bloodline little by little, and you have that moment of like Roman is not a part of night 1, so you can have him kind of react. It's like, how could you guys lose the titles? And I feel like little by little, it could kind of get him off his game, and that way he loses the championship to Cody as well. And I feel like as much as I like the storyline, it's time for something new. You know, I love the Usos, I love Roman, but I want new champions just to get something new out there. And I feel like the way to go is to have, Sami and KO win this. I feel like it will be like a great exclamation point and a great end to, the chapter in their story. And it's like a so feel good moment between both of them. And not only that, but I feel like it's great that they could have that WrestleMania moment together after everything they have gone through as friends through these whole years in wrestling. So I think like that will be the feel good moment that we get for night 1. So I definitely can only see Sami and KO winning this and having the downfall of the bloodline starting in night 1.
All right, Ella, your thoughts.
I'm singing the Usos theme song in my head because it's just, oh my gosh, I can't wait to be able to hear more of that as they walk slowly down the ramp. It's a banger. But yeah, same as Astrid. This is gonna be the beginning of the end for the Bloodline. We're gonna get a preview it on night 2. Cody, we're gonna have a preview of it on night 1. The Wild Sam Owens are going to win.
Damn it, I don't have my sound effect ready. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do.
Somebody said that. I thought it was brilliant. Because it is.
So, Ella, can you say that one more time?
Night 1 is gonna begin the downfall of the Bloodline. The Wild Sam Owens are gonna get their win.
You'll hear the sound effect when you go back to stream, but just, you know, I'm cringing at Wild Samoans, but no, I feel like
brilliant.
it's something. But I mean, obviously, I feel like with this one, KO and Sammy have to win this one. If they don't win, what the hell was the reason?
This is the feel good moment of night one.
As Cardi B once said, "What was the reason?" I mean, I could totally see Solo coming out. I could see Solo getting taken out, and then we're gonna see like Sammy has to get the pin here. Sammy has to get the pin here. There's no other way that this can go without Sammy getting the pin. Like, it just has to happen. That's gonna be the fanfare. That's gonna be probably. I mean, if we're talking match of the night, this is gonna be match of the night.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's unanimous that the Usos are losing the titles tonight.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, night one actually kind of going down the list, pretty stacked. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Thank you for clipping the sound effect, Michael. Oh, to which he says, "Oh God, Roman's entrance is going to be an hour." Ella, are you gonna pull up the stopwatch tomorrow?
Oh, so the joke is what do you think? Let me ask you guys this: what do you think is going to be longer, Roman's entrance or Omos versus Brock? Genuine question.
Roman's entrance. Yep.
Roman's entrance.
Can't deny that.
That shit's gonna be at least. I think.
Chad also said Roman's entrance.
I think at Rumble, Roman's entrance was around 6 minutes, because literally while we were sitting up there in the press box, somebody had a stopwatch, and it was funny. I think
And it wasn't you.
No, it wasn't me. I was looking at it. I was looking at it so I could tweet out what the time was.
Well, I mean, speaking of time, it is now time to transition over to night 2 of WrestleMania. WrestleMania Sunday. Smaller card, but I mean, Roman's entrance probably going to make up for the lack of a 7th match.
There could be a 7th match. I don't know if you saw, but last night, after Bobby Lashley won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, you know, he's like egging somebody on to face him at WrestleMania. So I think there could be a last-minute addition tonight too, with Bobby and maybe LA Knight. Nobody's answered Bobby's video on Twitter.
I would love an almighty open challenge for night 2.
Yeah, I think that's possible. If Bobby doesn't get a match, simply he might interfere then in the Brock Omos match, because he has ties to both. He has ties to MVP, and obviously Brock is his adversary. So
yeah, I could definitely see that happening. I mean, kind of getting into what we have for night 2. So this is the match that I think should open the show. I would kind of be shocked if it doesn't. We have the triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. We have Gunther defending the title against Sheamus, also defending it against Drew McIntyre. This one has show-stealing potential, as we've seen from Clash at the Castle. That match that Sheamus and Gunther had together was probably one, I would say, the best WWE like men's match of 2022. So, I mean, thoughts on the triple threat match? Astrid, you start this one.
This is what I'm definitely torn about, because I do want Gunther to keep that title. I feel like he's been doing great at it, and I don't want that to stop. At the same time, I want Sheamus to have that feel-good moment when he wins the title that he's missing, and he's like wanting to have that for so long, especially when he's going against Drew, and there's his friend too. It's like I want him to have that kind of moment of like, I finally won the title that I've been missing this whole time from all the titles that he's held. And I think he has a picture like with all the titles. Like there's one that's always been missing there. So I want him to have that moment of like, I finally made it after months and months of going against Gunther and having this match with like Gunther and Drew as well. Yeah, as much as I want Gunther to win it, I'm gonna stick with Sheamus.
I don't know if I can say that out loud, Michael. Oh my god. I mean, fine, I will say it out loud. Magic Impact says, and I quote, Imperium were so slutty last night. They were popping their pecs in the ramp. Tiffany Stratton is a happy lady. She's dating Kaiser.
what about Ginny?
What about Ginny?
Ginny and Gunther wasn't really out there last night. You're right.
But still, what about? We know she's fine. She's living her best retired life. Good for her. Ella, your thoughts on the triple threat match?
I agree with Astrid. It would be cool for Sheamus to get that moment. However, I was mentioning earlier, of a plan that I had for the OC. I think Gunther's gonna get to a year. I think he's going to retain here. You know, people, if Gunther does lose, people are saying that, you know, him versus Cody would be cool. I think so too, but I think they're gonna have that match later down the line. Gunther's only 2 months away from getting to a year. He won it June 10th of last year, so he's really only 2 months away from it now. Also, I just realized it is April now, which is crazy. Um, Gunther's going to retain here. Then I think, barring his health, I think AJ Styles would be a cool person to take it off of him because you have that story of Imperium versus the OC that you could do first or after, really. And then you can AJ and Gunther, I think, would be a banger. So I think again, a draft would have to happen or something to make this kind of make more sense. But I think the OC versus Imperium would be cool, and then AJ being the one to take it off Gunther, I think would be a banger of a match too. And honestly, this match is going to be the best like the best wrestling match of the entire weekend, period. The best story is obviously going to be the bloodline, but this is going to be the best match, like, of the weekend, period. I think it should open as well.
So my thing is just kind of like Magic Impact was saying it in the chat as well. I think Gunther's going to break the Honky Tonk Man's record. So I can see him winning this match and taking it all the way into the fall. Because, I mean, even after Money in the Bank, he would still have probably about another, like, maybe 50 or 60 days. I can honestly see him probably taking it to, like, maybe Survivor Series or something where then he finally drops the Intercontinental title. I mean, the main thing is, like, yes, I totally get Sheamus is, like, this close to being a Grand Slam champion, but so is John Cena. He's never held the Intercontinental title, too. And you think about John Cena being one of the GOATs, like, you don't necessarily need to be a Grand Slam to have the lineage and the accolades and the respect that, I mean, he has. I mean, Sheamus is still proving, like, well into, like, his second decade with WWE that he can still go at whatever level that they want him to go at. I feel like Clash at the Castle really revitalized a lot of his momentum. So even if it doesn't end up being that he's going to win the title on Sunday, I also don't think he's going to look weak in the process. I can honestly see Drew being the one that takes the pin. And then that could set up either something where, like, Drew and Sheamus have a blow-off, or, like, Sheamus is just really trying to find, okay, now what? And if that leads to more stuff with Brawling Brutes, if it leads to him going solo, who's to say? But I feel like this is definitely going to be the hardest-hitting match of the weekend, for sure. I mean, I do think Gunther's going to retain. Oh, wait. Magic Impact says Gunther drops to Cena, who drops to Sheamus, who drops to Charlotte. Let's go. I will say,
I'm here for Charlotte IC title reign.
I'm beyond ready for a woman to hold the Intercontinental title again.
Yeah.
Like,
Whether it could be Rhea,
fun.
Charlotte, or Rhea.
It really could. It really fucking could. So, I mean, kind of going into, I guess speaking of Rhea, we have her Judgment Day counterpart. We have the Demon Finn Balor going against Edge inside of Hell in a Cell. Which is back to Silver Hell in a Cell, which thank God, because I hated the red cage so fucking much. Sheamus would have everything with Money in the Bank, Rumble. He would, Ed, but I feel like for me, it's not so much about the destination. If there's a good journey, it'll make up for the fact that he's not going to get it right now. Because I don't think he's going to get it right now, especially like with the way they're building Gunther. I feel like that would honestly be like a really good way to not only like break Honky Tonk Man's record, because who likes Honky Tonk Man, but like he really has had like the reign that you think of with Intercontinental Championships being the workhorse title and like really bringing that reputation back to it. But yeah, kind of going back into Hell in a Cell, I mean, I have a controversial yet brave statement.
Don't say it.
I'm really not that into this match.
Oh.
Like, it's going to be a long match. I feel like Edge is going to win, and it makes the Demon look stupid again. Like, I love Edge. I love Finn. I'm tired of it.
The Demon's already been kind of soured anyway. So for me, like, I get why, you know, it's Hell in a Cell. You know, it's kind of not supernatural, but kind of this otherworldly stipulation that you can bring out. You know, people are saying that they saw the Brood might, at least Gangrel might return. That's possible. But you know, Edge started this. Edge started the Judgment Day. A year later, you know, like we said, Rhea's gonna close that chapter, finish her story. Cody's gonna finish her story. Edge is gonna finish this story with the Bloodline and emerge victorious. You know, a lot of people are saying that Finn needs to win to get like redeem the demon, but for me, the demon's already been kind of soured.
Also, is this his second or third Hell in
no.
a Cell match since coming back?
Edge?
Yeah.
I think it's his third.
Because it was him and Seth. We have this one. Did he ever face
Did
Roman
he
in
one
Hell in a
with
Cell?
Randy? I thought it'd be Randy.
It might have been Randy. Shit.
Maybe. I don't know. I think Edge started the Judgment Day. He's gonna finish it.
Yeah.
Well, at least his story with the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day is gonna still continue on, but Edge is gonna close that chapter and move on.
But I will say this is also a sign that long-term storytelling also doesn't mean that it's not going to lead to burnout, because I'm definitely burnt out.
Yeah.
Astrid, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I keep thinking like Ella was saying, Edge is the one I started to have him ended. I feel like it's gonna be, I don't want to say awkward, but it's gonna feel like an awkward kind of timing of having a Hell in a Cell of WrestleMania. I feel like that's the only part that I keep thinking about. But yeah, I feel like the demon is not, it's not the same after what happened last time. So it's like I don't see a point in bringing back the demon. But I'm hoping if he does bring it back, he does something with it that makes us feel more like a better feel moment than what happened last time there for sure. But yeah, I only see Edge winning this one and just, you know, taking his time off after this as he does, because it's the storyline to end it on that chapter with Judgment Day, and then seeing what Finn Balor can do with Judgment Day afterwards without Edge being involved.
Yeah,
The only thing, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, and like even when it comes to like the story that he's had with Finn, like it's like even if Edge loses, there's nowhere else to go from here because they already had a fucking I Quit match. Like there's literally no other stipulation that you could really do to really blow it off. So go ahead, Ella.
I was just gonna say, people were making the point, which is a valid point. If we're already thinking that Rhea's gonna win, Dominic's gonna win, would you want the Judgment Day sweep? That's like my kind of only concern is you have their leader lose, but Dominic and Rhea win, you know? Granted, Dominic could lose, like that's still a possibility. I'm confident Rhea's gonna win, but it's just another thing. Do you want Judgment Day to sweep, or do you kind of want 2-in-1 scenario? I think Edge should win here to close that chapter with the Judgment Day and move on.
I mean, as dumb as it sounds, we've seen Judgment Day ostracize their leader before,
Yeah,
so I could see if
true,
it's something
true,
where
true.
Dom wins, Rhea wins. I mean, obviously Damien's not on the card right now,
No.
but like I could totally be just like, how come we took care of business and you didn't? And that's when they turn on Finn, and Finn can go back to being like the demon or just like whatever the hell he wants to be, because I have not cared about Finn Balor in the Judgment Day at all. Like,
Yeah.
it's just he's bigger than the stable, the same way that Rhea's bigger than the stable. Like, you don't think about like the sum of all parts. You think about the individuals. Like, you think about like what Dominic's doing with Ray. You think about what Rhea's doing with Charlotte. Like, Judgment Day does not need to exist as Judgment Day moving forward for everyone to have a chance at success. And I feel like if
I do
anything,
think
it's
you
been a
should at
hindrance.
least keep Rhea and Dominic together at the very least.
Oh, I think those two together definitely make more sense, especially because like Dominic being a sarcastic asshole and then Rhea being a sarcastic asshole too, and like playing on like being more of like the dominant force of the tandem, like that makes so much more sense than anything. So, but yeah, like it's probably gonna be Edge, and I'm just like, it is what it is. But I mean, is that kind of the consensus?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then kind of going from one match where it is what it is to another where it is what it is. The Women's WrestleMania Showcase Tag Team match. We have Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez going against Natalya and Shotzi, affectionately what Natty's calling the Blackhearts, versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. I have my thoughts on how this match has been put together. I will save my thoughts for the end. Ella, you start this one.
This is the one time this weekend I'm saying screw logic. I don't care. I am going with my heart on this one. I refuse to acknowledge one team in this match. So I'm gonna go with Liv and Raquel. You know, I said earlier that normally the people who win the matches the day before lose. Well, I guess Raquel won yesterday. Well, they're gonna win again. I'm gonna say I think either way though, I think Chelsea's gonna end up being the one to get pinned to have more reason to complain to Adam Pearce or something to further that story. This has some potential. I just worry that Chelsea has a history with arm injuries. Stay the hell away from Chelsea, Rhonda. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say is stay away from Chelsea. So because
Get a job. Stay away from her.
stay away, leave Chelsea alone. Shayna's fine. You know, it's just I refuse to even entertain the thought of that team winning. So I'm gonna go with Liv and Raquel.
Now Chelsea transferred her injury to Carmella this time. Magic Impact. That's shady. Astrid, your thoughts?
This one's one of those that I'm not sure who I can pick as a winner because I don't want Ronda and Shayna to win this at all. I'm gonna kind of like, I'm not even gonna think about them being in this match to be honest. And like, I know that Chelsea, like Ella was saying, you're going to having her lose, so she goes complaining later. So it just goes to like Blackheart and Liv Morgan and Raquel. And as much as I don't like Raquel with Liv because it feels like the most random team too. And I feel bad for Liv for having, and like Natty for having so many random tag team partners the last couple of months. But, you know, I think it'll be cool to have Liv Morgan and Raquel win it and have Liv get that championship because I really want her to have that championship match there, hopefully in the future. So that's another thing I'm hoping for that later on this one. They just say, you know, we won the match, we deserve to have a title shot. And they get one there too. Because Liv and Raquel will be my first choice. And if anything, Blackhearts will be my second one because I don't want Ronda to have that championship at all. I really don't. I'm sorry, Shayna.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So here's how I would have booked this match if they didn't want to make a tag team turmoil. What I would have done is I would have had Candice and Mia win on Raw, and they would have been in the match instead of Sonya and Chelsea. And then before the match can officially start, you have Chelsea and Sonya coming out, complaining, wanting to speak to the manager, holding the match up, and that can bring in the other girls on the roster where you have people like, you have Nikki Cross, you have Piper Niven, you have Emma, you have Tegan Knox, Dana Brooke, Tamina, all coming out and attacking them. And then that can be like the way to get like women on the show, one, and two, it also fades into like, you mean to tell me that after all this we're still not on this card? Like, I refuse to believe. Like, that makes more sense to see like Karen's like having a FAFO moment on the show and like trying to hold it up. However, I
don't say it. Don't. I refuse.
I won't say names, but I will say in one word, nay.
Yeah. Same.
Yes. So yeah, that's gonna be a match, which I'm sure there will be good moments in the match.
Yeah.
With some competitors.
Just stay away from Chelsea. Leave Chelsea alone.
Yes. Very, very that energy. Moving on into what I think is probably gonna be the match I'm looking forward to the most on night 2. Bianca Belair versus Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. And a match where, again, we've seen this happen before with Bianca going to WrestleMania. No real story going into it, but the match is going to make up for it. And honestly, so if Bianca wins this, she will have a 1-year-long championship reign. But I don't see Asuka losing, guys. I don't know. Let's see. Astrid, your thoughts?
This one definitely like also thought about because I'm thinking of like I would like Bianca to be that woman to say, you know, I had 3 back-to-back victories at WrestleMania. Nobody has been able to do that but me, and add that to her resume already, as huge as it is, and have her had that long reign as well. But the way Asuka has been coming out since her return, and just like you can't have her lose because you're killing that momentum that she's had so far with her character and the way, and her look and everything. I feel like it just cancels out with the way when she loses. So, I feel like I don't know who to pick for this one. I know the match itself is going to be amazing though, but for now I'm gonna go with Asuka.
Okay, Ella, your thoughts?
I think it's gonna be the exact opposite. You know, if you would have told me like right after Elimination Chamber, if you would have asked me, I would have said 1,000,000% Asuka. You know, Asuka had revived her Kana character. You know, she seemed more dangerous, more. I don't know how to describe it. Just a different type of competitor we have never really seen Bianca Belair face before, you know. She's faced some good wrestlers, of course, you know, some mean people, but she's never really faced somebody quite like Asuka, who's kind of aggressive, dangerous, and kind of just unpredictable. We've never really had that in an opponent against Bianca Belair. So I thought, you know, for a while, you know, this is somebody who Bianca Belair has never faced this kind of archetype before. So she's going to be put out of her comfort zone, you know? And I was like, there's no way Asuka's losing. But like you said, the deliverance of this build, Asuka has not reached her full potential. She started off really seeming really dangerous during the Rumble. She did great. She dominated Chamber, great. But the story going in is Bianca Belair is supposed to be afraid of Asuka, this dangerous blood or mist dripping Asuka. Bianca Belair is not even a twinge afraid of Asuka. She just seems more confused to me and kind of like disgusted, but not afraid. And that's what you needed to instill a little bit of fear inside Bianca Belair, make her more vulnerable, because we have not really seen her vulnerable in any of her title reigns besides, you know, the 26-second Becky match. But I'm just saying, throughout this reign, we have not seen Bianca Belair appear vulnerable or phased even once. And this was the time to do it with somebody like Asuka, who can play those mind games, who is on a different level than everybody else, who is a different type of competitor that Bianca Belair hasn't faced before. But quite frankly, the mind games haven't really even seemed to phase Bianca. She's not even a twinge afraid of Asuka, as she should have been storyline-wise, but she's not. She's just more confused and maybe disgusted, but not afraid. So for that, Bianca Belair is going to retain in my mind. Now, it's not to say, you know, in spite of the build, Asuka Kana could come out and fully unleash, like, the crazy Asuka that we've all been wanting. But as of the story as it's presented itself, I don't see Bianca Belair losing here. You know, and they could have done so much more with Asuka, but it's been so subpar.
I feel like for me, the big thing is that while, yes, Bianca has not been afraid of Asuka, it kind of plays into the whole EST character. And part of being the EST is unabashedly like saying that you are above everything else, which can be hubris to a fault, which can mean that while she like is aware that Asuka is dangerous, like if she feels like she's going to conquer her that easily and she doesn't, that could play into rediscovering who Bianca is as a character and potentially setting up something even bigger. Because who's to say that Asuka winning the Raw Women's title, finally making up for years of being wronged at WrestleMania, and then if Bianca's not going to have a rematch right away, I could totally see a call-up from NXT that would give Asuka a run for her money that I feel like a lot of people would die to see. I want to see Asuka versus Meiko Satomura. I want to see that match happen on main WWE television, and I will, whoever I need to pay for that match to happen, I will send you my dollars. Just
I don't know what Mako's status has been, because she only pops up for like a few weeks and then she disappears, and then she pops up for a few weeks and then disappears. So I think if anybody's getting a call up right now, it would be Zoe Stark. But I don't think if she gets called up, she's not winning any gold. You know, not to say she couldn't win the NXT Women's title this weekend. That's possible. But I think if any woman's getting called up right now, it would be Zoe Stark, because she's had those trials on the main roster at the house shows. She's done the main events. I don't know. I don't know. It's possible we get call ups. I just don't see right now. I don't think Braun Breaker is ready. And then it could be Zoe. I think if any women gets called up, I would love for it to be Mako, but I think it would be Zoe Stark.
I feel like for me, like Magic Impact was also saying, I feel like it would be Indy Hartwell that gets called up and have her in line with Candice and Johnny again.
Yeah, another one, yeah.
Yeah. Astrid, what were you going to say?
No, because I was thinking of the lines of like, for call up, I could think it's Zoe and Indy, either or both, because those are the ones that have been there for quite a while. And like Ella was saying, Zoe has had like those kind of matches. I feel like tryouts, and even that more for Charlotte, saying like I had a match with Zoe and she was great. So I feel like that endorsement from Charlotte does help. Versus I feel like Mako, she's coming into the matches because she's staying there as a coach. most likely until next year kicks in, and that's probably when she will end up being the coach. And anyway, I think they're just keeping her for the moment until they officially have NXT Europe like official there for her to start and be coaching there. So that's why I don't see her like often on TV, and like she does have like a match or two, and then she's gone. I would love to see that match at least once and have like Asuka say like I want to face her before she decides to retire, because you never know how long we're gonna have Mako for at this point. So I feel like
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
one of those like maybe she will have that kind of match and say, look, I want her to have that match before she goes. Just give it to me at some point as champion. And that will be the only thing of like having the match and then have, even with Mako losing, having her leave and go back to NXT Europe after that.
Yeah, like even if it's just a one-off, I don't think it needs to be where Mako has a whole main roster run. It could be just a couple appearances, the pay-per-view, and then from there it is what it is. But yeah, I feel like my prediction is going to be Asuka WrestleMania. I think Ella, you said Bianca,
Yeah.
and then Astrid, are you saying who do you say?
I'm keeping Asuka.
Okay, so I got 2 Asukas, 1 Bianca. Next is a match that I just yes, there's been build, but I just don't care.
Oh.
It's gonna be Brock Lesnar versus Omos. Brock wins, LOL, right?
Yeah. In agreement.
I think it's possible though that, like I said, if Lashley doesn't have a match, it is possible that he gets involved or the Hurt Business gets involved and MVP kind of phones them and be like, "Yo, help us out." But I think that there's a little chance of that, but I think the majority of the chances right now are Brock is gonna beat Omos. I will say this match when it was first announced, I was like, WTF? But I will say they've had a decent build. It has at least made me decently interested to see how this plays out. Like, I mean, I want to see, can Brock actually like F5 or like spear Omos, you know? I'm at least somewhat interested in it compared to weeks ago when it was first announced. I'm like, WTF, what is this? I'm interested to see what they do with this. It's going to serve its purpose as just 2 big men slapping meat. Maybe Bobby Lashley pops up too. There's always that possibility. So I have somewhat of investment in this, I will say.
Astrid, what do you say?
Um, Definitely has to be that LOL Brock wins. I just think with Bobby though, the other aspect could be that they said that Alexa Bliss might have something to do at WrestleMania, and I wonder if it has something to do with the Fiend, and then we kind of have the Fiend and Bobby getting revisited in that aspect. Because there's that rumor of like Alexa having a role in WrestleMania, but nothing has really been announced.
Yeah.
I only see Brock winning this because he wins every other thing that he does anyway. But like I was thinking of along the lines of what Ella was saying. It's like I saw the video of Bobby saying, "There's no way you can have a WrestleMania without Bobby." He's like, "I'm open night 2, night 1. It doesn't matter. Like I want somebody." So I think it'll be interesting to see who, if he does it kind of like an open challenge, and see who answers it. Because so far I haven't seen any kind of response to it in social media. But I think that will be interesting the way he brought it up. Is like you can have a match without me being involved in there, and I want to see what that looks like. But it just makes me think back of the Alexa thing, because there's been those rumors that she's going to be involved, but nothing has been like official whatsoever.
She'll be at
But
Mania,
I-
but yeah.
Yeah, but nothing else to it. But I do see like Brock winning this one, and then probably getting the additional match of like Bobby maybe doing an open challenge.
No, we'll see. I mean, I feel like that's the match where like it really doesn't matter what happens. It's just gonna be like a means to like filling up time on the card. Which brings us into the main event of night 2, the long-awaited Cody Rhodes Royal Rumble winner going against Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. If we don't get and new here, I don't know what they're doing. Like, if there was ever a time to take the titles off of Roman, this is the time. This is most definitely the time. Ella, your thoughts?
Yeah, like, I better fucking hear hashtag and new. My only concern is Roman is about 55 days from getting to 1,000, which would lead him to the end of May. That is my only kind of little doubt that they're going to be like, not petty, but like, we want to get him to 1,000 days just to get to that circular number. But to me, that would just completely derail and completely abominate Cody's credibility and his story. Like, that would do so much damage to all this work that Cody has done to come back, get his story, win the Royal Rumble. So to me, the cons for that situation far outweigh the pros for it. So I think Cody's going to get and new. The Solo Sikoa factor though is interesting because I think if Solo isn't out for the tag titles, he's definitely out for this match. So then that kind of leaves like just Cody bringing somebody like a Randy Orton or something. I don't know. The last I heard that Randy's back was still not 100%, which makes me doubt that a little bit. But regardless, we're going to be getting and new. I refuse to believe otherwise.
Yeah. Astrid, what do you say?
Yeah, I keep thinking the same thing Ella was saying of like the number of days is what made me like doubt myself for a while. But it's like you have this storyline, you have to capitalize on it. And like I said earlier, you start with like crumbling down the bloodline on night one, and it has to end on night two with Cody winning. And just thinking of like that Roman Empire is down, and kind of thinking back of like what is Roman really gonna say to like Heyman to like hey, wise man, how do we pick ourselves up after this kind of situation? And to see what happens at that aspect. And I want to see what Roman does, or like how he does with the storyline without being a champion. So that's something I'm interested in seeing how his mentality goes after WrestleMania. And it's like you have Cody there, you have that feel good moment of Cody winning that title and probably getting that new championship as well. That's the other thing too to it. And I feel like it would be nice to have fresh new feuds with Cody and whoever goes next in line against him versus with Roman. We're always thinking, LOL, Roman wins because he's not going to lose anytime soon. So that's why I want Cody to have that moment like in WrestleMania with that pyro and a championship and getting probably the after Mania, getting that new championship unveiled for him in front of everybody.
Yeah, and I feel like... Oh, go ahead, Ella.
When Roman loses, he's taking a couple weeks off. Like straight up. Like he's gonna be he's gonna be like, how do I recover from this? He's gone for weeks at a time anyway. That's literally not
I know, that's why I'm
anything.
saying weeks. It should be months.
Oh, fair.
I mean, my whole thing is just like, Magic Impact was saying, obviously Sable returns and Sable bonds Roman and wins the Undisputed World
Does
Universe.
Roman return at SummerSlam? That could be possible.
I could see that. Magic Impact also saying, I decided I will go to bed before Roman's entrance is over, so I don't have to do a false finishes. Mickey's last rodeo was enough. Amen. COVID safe king Roman Reigns. Now, I feel like Cody is for sure winning, and whether they unveil a new championship on Raw, who's to say? It's time, and I feel like this is the most believable that it's been that Roman's title reign is in jeopardy, which I'm excited for, and I think it's going to be the perfect bookend to WrestleMania weekend.
I hope so. I will go nuts.
And with that concludes all of our WrestleMania predictions. So the last thing I'm going to say is the match that you think is going to be match of the weekend. Astrid, you start.
Oh shoot. I think one for me would definitely it's gonna be Rhea and Charlotte. I feel like they're both gonna kill it either way. And I think the reaction from the crowd is definitely gonna help in having them like be torn for who to cheer for because we love Charlotte, but at the same time we want Rhea to have that moment and cheer her on. So I definitely think that's gonna be one of the matches for me.
Ella, your match of the weekend.
Story-wise or in-ring quality-wise?
We're gonna say just overall, like whatever you think. Like if you had to pick one match of the weekend to say like that was the best thing I've seen all weekend, period.
I mean, the obvious would be Cody. Like again, anybody who knows me knows that I am great person, Roman Reigns in person. The character I've never gotten into. So for me, this has just been 2.5 years of just brutal hell. Like I have just been wanting this to be over since it began. So for me, like Cody getting that moment, oh my god, I am gonna be jumping for joy.
Yeah, I'm going to say my match of the weekend is going to be Sammy and KO versus the Usos. I feel like regardless of where it ends up on the card, like, I think that's the perfect hybrid of storytelling and technique. It's just going to be, I think that's going to be the one where, like, we're going to look back and think, damn, they really did that.
In-ring quality-wise, I think it's going to be the IC title, though. That should open night 2, to be honest. That's going to be the best, like, in-ring quality match of the weekend for me.
And I would say like best women's match for me is gonna be Bianca versus Asuka.
Yeah, I hope, man. I think, you know, I think Charlotte and Rhea at least have had, they had that brawl. They got physical with each other. They did better at booking Charlotte and Rhea than they did far with Bianca and Asuka, which is like so sad. Because Bianca and Asuka deserved like a proper build, but just it's been so underwhelming. I think it's gonna be a good match. Just the build, man.
But yeah, I mean, thank you all for being here for this. This was fun. I think we still finished in good time and considering we started late. But yeah, no, we
Yeah.
did the damn thing. Let's see, Astrid, where can people find you?
You can mostly find me on my Twitter, Astrid Pizarro, and my Instagram is Astrid Pizarro 20. Today after Set and Deliver, I do have a post show with my tag team partner Ed, who was in the comments earlier. So we're gonna be reacting to NXT first, and then we're gonna have the Night One reactions in the evening. I believe it's with our friend Carl, if I'm not mistaken, in our local establishment. So we're gonna have the two shows tonight after this is happening. Yeah, that's what I have for today, and then Sunday, hopefully I'll just watch wrestling and have to cover it, thankfully.
Definitely.
Yeah, I feel that. And then on the counterpart to that, who's always covering it, Ella J, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm taking a nap after this, so I might not be on Twitter all day, but you can follow me on Twitter at It's Ella J. I will be doing live Twitter coverage of night 1 and night 2, so it's gonna be a long, like, 8 hours probably between both shows. On SC Scoops Twitter page, it's at SE Scoops. I will be doing live coverage of that. Tomorrow morning, I'll be doing a bunch of writing articles, my normal shift for Wrestling Inc. So I'm sure there'll be some news coming out of Mania, so you can look for that too. And then, yeah, I'll be covering night 2. I'll probably put some personal reactions on my own page. But yeah, stay updated because, well, I got you if you need to stay updated.
I just hope you got a good keyboard, girl, because it is going to be a weekend.
Yeah. Well, it's just by my phone. It's easier.
Oh, okay. Perfect. So, yeah, and then obviously, thank you guys for coming here. I am planning on using Twitch more often, which, as you can see, I've already used it more times in this past month than I have in the better part of 2022, which, yeah. So when I'm not live here, Jose on the air everywhere. Content with Creation is on a little bit of a hiatus after season 1. Please check out the YouTube channel for that. Link down below at the Jose Gonzalez. Just looking forward to everything that's going on with season 2. In the meantime, if you want to get more of these lovely ladies, you could go back to my YouTube page and even check out their episodes of Content with Creation. Great conversations with the both of them. I will probably, if I'm not live tomorrow, I will probably be live at some point next weekend with some more gaming stuff. And I will see you all next week. Happy WrestleMania, everybody. Take care. Bye.